All right. So this episode was really good and definitely wasn't the kiddie stuff of season one. This is definitely young adult stuff. Um, so, so today's misunderstood villain was Cersei. And that is the aforementioned Cece in Cece's Resort and Spa. And she comes up with this elaborate ruse to, um, I mean, maybe she truly, people truly do um, get by on her program. But even Percy pointed out that, wait a minute, as soon as someone is losing hope, you let a hero get past the sirens. So that kind of implies that she's controlling the sirens. Not to mention, in the original story, now it could be because, men were the only sailors back then, but they siren songs are supposed to only affect men. So when it came to Percy and Annabeth, in the original story, Annabeth, and by original story, I mean the Odyssey. I'm not talking about the book, Percy Jackson, the Olympians, as I never read that. But she would not have been affected. It would just be Percy that was affected. And the siren song is supposed to drive men mad. It's not supposed to have this um, hypnotic effect on them and lead them to the sirens themselves killing them. They're just supposed to be driven mad. And then the sirens would kill them. But yeah, the way they did this was really interesting. So where to begin? Let us start with them, just the two of them, Percy and Annabeth, waking up the um in the in the aforementioned spa. Now, why they ended up there and not Clarice or Tyson, I'm assuming not Tyson, simply because he would be able to see through Cersei from a mile away, and I doubt that her magic would have been able to turn him into a guinea pig. Maybe I'm wrong, but Tyson was nowhere to be found in this episode. So, and one of the women who was there, who, until at the very end, I didn't think there were any men there. So when I saw the pirates, I thought, okay, she only turns men into guinea pigs. No, you did see a man, at least I think it was a man, um, when the pirates were ransacking the place. So I don't know if it's because Percy figured it out and he bargained, I'll stay here as long as you let Annabeth through. But she brings up a good point. If she lets Annabeth through so quickly, then people are going to question it because apparently they're all demigods. So there's nothing special about Annabeth in that regard. And I also feel for Cersei that she just doesn't want to feel lonely. She wants someone to hang out with, which is understandable. I mean, I prefer being alone, but there is an occasion where I'd want to be around people. So, yeah, I get it. she just goes about it in the most messed up way. Seriously. If you want people to be your friends, I mean, she's like, oh, well, heroes only are, want to hang out with you until as long as you're useful. And yes, a lot of those men were probably like that. But, not everybody is like that. I'm sure that if she didn't do that to Percy and make him to be um turn him into a guinea pig, it sounded like he actually, truly understood her and wanted to actually be her friend and not have her be constantly alone. So, that's a thing. However, I don't know. You know, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but he sounded like he was totally getting it and was willing to be her friend. That, help me, help Annabeth, and I'll stay with you, I'll be your friend, blah, blah, blah.
Come from left center.
So it's very, so, he's being very sweet, he's being a good kid like he is. And then she turns him into a guinea pig. But the way Annabeth figured it out, I mean, find someone who can recognize you even when you're a guinea pig. I mean, that is just so beautiful. The way she figured out that Percy is a guinea pig, and she just happened to have in her bag something to turn him back. Because apparently the daughter of Artemis is a walking Girl Scout, prepared for everything. So, so they get out, and Percy steals wax to put in their ears so he could, so they could get past the sirens. They only have enough for one. So Percy's like, okay, I'll take the mast. You tie me up and you take the wax. Now, whether it's because the sirens came too fast or Annabeth is just being Annabeth, she didn't do that. But the way they showed what she was seeing was super cool. They made it out to be like, here, let me turn you a bit. They made it out to be like she is seeing Grover, Percy, and Luke. And that she took out a couple of the sirens, but the third one she was not able to overpower, and it freaked her out. And her mother, who she looked like Vanessa Williams, I don't know if that's who that was, came, and she's so thrilled that she finally gets to meet her mother. Turns out that was a part of the ruse of the sirens, and Percy, who had a knife with him, of course he did, was able to save Annabeth. And they were trying to one-up each other who saved who. It's like, you saved each other, dummies. So they admitted that the only way they would have gotten through is because of the fact that they did this together. So, and it ends with them getting to the coordinates. Which, of course, because Percy is the son of Poseidon, he just happens to know. Doesn't need a map, he just knows. And And of course, they were able to get away because they ended up in the water to begin with, and that's Percy's domain. And I liked it how they could tell that Percy was getting seriously annoyed with Cersei because you saw a little whirlpool in a water glass, and he got so emotional that it burst. And Annabeth is just watching it like, I know what's going to happen. So, um, so that was basically their story. Now, we see Cersei. We see Clarice. She thinks she's found the golden fleece. So she's going to run to get it. And ends up in a trap laid by Polypheus. And it turns out Polypheus knew all along that Grover was not a girl, let alone a Cyclops, and that he was just playing with him and letting him do this because, he's a bad guy and he's going to use Clarice and Grover as bait. So the only thing that Grover said, because what Grover was doing was super cool, helping Clarice and Clarice helping him, and but the only thing he said, which was like, huh, was trying to tell Clarice that her father is merciful and kind and loving. And she's just like, what? And that was my reaction, like, what? Or maybe he was just using it as, baiting her to, open the freaking door so he could get out. So maybe it was just him getting her to remember that he exists, because what he said was absolutely crazy. There is no way in hell that that Ares is merciful or loving. I mean, he helped her out, but he did it more in the warrior spirit as opposed to I love my daughter and I want her to succeed. So anyway, I did read the Wikipedia article of the plot of this season, of this book, and either they really changed how it goes from the books. Then the way Wikipedia phrased it, I thought something completely different. That Polyphemus thought at first that Grover was a girl and wanted to marry her, and then set his sights on Clarice when it turns out that Grover is a boy. So I was under the impression that he would want to marry Clarice. So for those of you who've read the books, let me know. Am I right? Am I wrong? Did Wikipedia phrase it in badly so I was led astray? Or whether they just changed the episode, the way it flows. So it's obvious they're going to get to where Clarice and Grover are. Now, let's get to the Tyson of it all. He was not in this episode, but he's a Cyclops, as is Polyphemus. So I'm thinking that he is going to be the one to save them all. Because as of now, Polyphemus has no reason to dislike Tyson because he's a Cyclops. So he probably thinks he's just like him. And so it wouldn't occur to him that him trying to kill Percy probably wouldn't sit well with Tyson. Let's see. So my guess is that Tyson is going to save everybody. Because even Annabeth mentioned when Percy believed that Clarice and Tyson are dead. And the way she said it was like, yeah, no, they're not. And I don't know if Annabeth caught that or she's just that hopeful. But she knew that they weren't dead. As well, she didn't say about Clarice. She just said about Tyson that, he's fireproof. He survived being right next to a freaking bomb. So, he's not easily killed, so he should be fine. And since this is a sea of monsters and he's technically a monster, obviously nothing is going to attack him. So I'm really thinking that he's going to save all 4 of them. That he's going to protect them from Polyphemus. Now, how he's going to do that, don't know. But I really think he's going to be the one to save them. Let's see what else is there about this episode I wanted to mention. Percy, I'm sorry. He just that look did not go with him. I mean, the tunic was fine, but the way they had his hair parted, I think if they kept his hair, more even keel, sort of like what Grover's is like, I think he would have looked a lot better with the I'm trying to think of it's not a wreath. I can't, I'm blanking on what it's called. But I'm sure it would have looked better than having his hair parted like that. It just, I think it would have looked better. Because the tunic itself was fine. And Annabeth looked really good in what she was wearing. Let me see. I'm just shocked that, someone like Annabeth would be wearing eye makeup. And I mean, to the point where you can see it. You can see the color of her eyeshadow. It's just doesn't fit her whole vibe. But anyway, maybe because I don't wear makeup, so I figure that someone like Annabeth wouldn't either. But anyway, so yeah, the jig is up. So I wonder if we're going to stop seeing Grover in a wedding dress. And we're going to see him back in his regular clothes. Or if he's going to spend the rest of the season in the wedding dress. Which would make walking around really, really hard. But, Clarice being unsure of when Grover was using Pan's flute to communicate with the tree in hopes that Clarice would get out. And she seemed to be unsure of that. It's like, okay. I'm sorry. He's a satyr. Why with all the craziness you've dealt with, the fact that there is a creature that can communicate with plant life, with the natural world, I'm sorry. Why is that a bridge too far for you? But, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next episode. This is episode 5, so we have 4 more episodes. 6, 7, 8. 3 more episodes make that. I can count. I promise you, I know how to count. So we have 3 more episodes. So yeah. It's going to be interesting how they, get captured by Polyphemus, because they will, how they get out, and then they have to get the golden fleece and return to camp to protect camp, and of course, to ultimately save Grover. Which, it's funny, I figured that this was going to be the case, that Grover and the golden fleece would converge. That Clarissa's like, I don't care about Grover, I just want to get the golden fleece. And I'm like, same thing? Just two slight divergences of going the same place. And that's the case. They're going to have to save Grover and get the golden fleece at the same time. And who knows? Considering Clarice saw the tree that she wanted, I'm going to guess that it's going to take Grover to actually retrieve the golden fleece, because nature boy. Let's see. I believe that is all I have for this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.